Welcome to the fourth episode of Lessons in Consciousness. In this segment, I'm going to talk about the last of the four major categories of consciousness. I call it infinite consciousness. Now, the existence of an infinite consciousness is a little harder to prove than the other categories of consciousness that I've spoken about earlier. However, there is some evidence. There are actually many ancient mystical traditions that claim that there is something like an infinite consciousness that really exists. One of these is Hinduism. Something called Brahman is considered the ultimate infinite essence that all form in the universe arises from. And the nature of Brahman can't really be detected by the physical senses, but it's said to be known by knowledge of the self. Then there's Buddhism, which refers to infinite consciousness as the void. Taoism calls it the Tao, and on and on. Okay, so ancient religions or belief systems claim that there is something like an infinite consciousness. But that's really not scientific proof. What else is there that shows that infinite consciousness exists? Well, how about experiential evidence? There's a lot of modern meditators that claim to have actually experienced infinite consciousness through a meditation. Now, why do meditators say this? Well, as you might know, meditation involves silencing the inner dialogue that's constantly going on, the human mind chatter that is part of our human experience. And it's said to reinforce this mentally constructed self of who you think you are. And it might be covering up a deeper awareness of infinite consciousness. Well, having experienced this deeper awareness from my own self, I definitely can attest to its existence. The mind takes on a state of pure bliss that goes beyond words. Now, whether I experienced infinite consciousness or not is debatable, but I definitely had an experience of a much different mindset than a typical human one. Still not that scientific. So what are some external evidences to that an infinite consciousness exists? Well, how about patterns in nature? There's something called the golden ratio or Fibonacci sequence that's been seen throughout nature. Now, what is a Fibonacci sequence? Well, it's a sequence of numbers where each subsequent number is the sum of the previous two. Here's an example. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, and on and on. That's a Fibonacci sequence. Now, you can see these in shapes in nature, especially spiral shapes. Here's the famous nautilus shell that you can find the Fibonacci sequence in. And here's a galaxy, a weather pattern, a Romanesco broccoli. These all show the Fibonacci sequence in their ratios or their proportions. This indicates that something bigger is going on in nature than just random selection. Then there are patterns of human personalities called archetypes. The idea of human personality types or archetypes goes back to at least as far as Plato, which is 400 BC. He mentions them as mental forms imprinted on a soul before it's born into this world. Carl Jung claimed they came from the collective conscious or unconscious. Joseph Campbell pointed out 7 basic archetypes that exist in mythic storytelling, and according to Carol Pearson, there are 12 basic human archetypes that are the foundation for each human personality. Examples are the fool, the magician, etc. Now, as we progress further in the episode, it will become more apparent that there is some kind of greater consciousness that we're all a part of. So, to review, I listed in the last several segments 4 major categories of consciousness. Number 1, conscious awareness. Number 2, the subconscious. Number 3, collective consciousness. And in this episode, number 4, infinite consciousness. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about the location of consciousness. I'm Dr. Bruce King, and you've been watching Lessons in Consciousness.